Hello again, everyone. I hope you're all well on this Thursday afternoon. It is August the 22nd, and time is running short, guys. If you really think about it, it's flying by, and we need to be prepared and set and in place and prepared for November, if not before. I don't know if we have until November for major shenanigans. I don't know what the word is. Unrest. That's probably putting it mildly. I just have a feeling on some things, and I'm going to share that. I'm going to go in more detail. I have a very good passage I'm going to share with you, a passage of hope towards the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. Also, a little bit of news that was very interesting yesterday that came out that I want to share. And that is that, I'll start with that, I think it was late yesterday, where Robert Kennedy, RFK, said that he is going to speak tomorrow and make an announcement. It is expected that he will announce that he will drop out of the race as a candidate for president and join forces with Trump. Now, that could be huge for Trump. It's debatable how much difference that might make for Trump. I believe it could make a difference. And how much, hard to tell, really hard to gauge that. By the way, I don't give much credence to the current polls right now, because when you hear the polls, Harris is supposed to be like way ahead and all this. Who are they calling? I mean, who are they polling? I don't know. I don't buy it. So, anyway, that's just an aside there. I just digress. But yeah, that's pretty big. That would be pretty big news if Kennedy jumps over to the Trump camp. I'm sure they would be working out a deal for him and that administration, I'm sure. So anyway, share your thoughts on that. I believe that, in a world of darkness, and we talk a lot about how especially over the last several years plus, the Twilight Zone, bizarro world we have been living in is full of darkness. And I believe that we need to do all we can as individuals, not only to be prepared and spiritually, number one, not only to be prepared, but while we're out there and about interacting with people, to be the light. Be the light in a world of darkness. What do I mean by that? Well, when you go out in public these days, if we've been talking about the lack of common courtesy, decency, evil is being trumpeted right now. We see that. We know this. We as individuals can make a difference. Being kind, being courteous, letting somebody in traffic in front of you, opening a door for somebody. When you're at a retail establishment, that retail clerk's probably getting beat down during the day. Say, have a nice day to them, or, have a good day, thank you, be kind to the server when you go out to eat. I try to be as kind to them as possible, because these people are working their tails off. And, I can appreciate that. I've never worked in that industry. I've been in retail back in the day, but I've never worked in food service. I've never been a server, but man, to me, they look like they're working. These folks are working. And, so I try to tip well. I do tip well. And, but because I just appreciate what they do, and when you go out to eat, you can probably eat at home for cheaper. So when you go out to eat, you're going to spend a little more. So go ahead and tip the person. I know there can be exceptions. I get it, but you know what I mean overall. Okay. But do what we can. It might be something just very small, a word of encouragement, helping somebody out with something, lifting something for them. There's a lot of opportunities that can come up. A neighbor that needs help, I'm not saying put in a deck for them, or it can be something small even, pray for them, encouragement, So now I'm gonna stay with me here. I'm gonna change some gears here, of course, but I'm not saying be a doormat. I'm not saying get run over. Don't let your kindness be mistaken for weakness. Okay, that happens to a lot of us. I know. I know the feeling, and you can't let that happen. All right. The powers that be, and the reason I'm stressing this right now is that the powers that shouldn't be, in this world of darkness, and we've seen it more than ever now. It's all out in the open. They're showing their colors more than ever, true colors, and they want you to be uninformed, unhealthy, laden down with drugs. When I say drugs, I mean prescription and illegal and illegal. There are some prescriptions you got to have. I get it. I'm not talking about that part. But the bad stuff. They want you to be angry, anxious, depressed, brainwashed, isolated, uneducated, not thinking for yourself. They want you to be dependent on them, broke, desperate, overwhelmed. They want you to be so overwhelmed that you're easily compliant. They want us to be tearing each other apart, and they're pretty close to that goal. They're really close to it. They want us to tear each other completely apart, rip this fabric of this society right down the middle. I totally believe that. They want you to be distracted beyond belief. They want you to turn away from God. We need to turn to God now. Return to God. Be the opposite. Be good. We may yet see another big revival. Be an example. Be kind and love one another. That is what is that? That's not one of the greatest, not the greatest commandments. Love out there, and Jesus talked a lot about it. Love one another. Be kind. Now, again, not being a doormat. Don't get run over. You can defend yourself. And that's what I'm going to move into next. This election, y'all, is coming like a freight train. If we have that long. I keep saying that because September 18th, they're going to sentence. The sentencing is for Trump. That could be key right there, because if they put the guy in jail, it could be on like Donkey Kong right then. So that's the first big one right there. I mean, we should be prepared at all times, but we need to really pay close attention to that time too, mid-September. And after that, we really need to bear down. We need to be bearing down right now on our preps. Have a place you're going to be hunkering down. Because I see several scenarios. And this is something that's been weighing on me, but been on my mind. But if Trump wins, we're going to see immediate unrest and violence. I'm convinced we're going to see that. We know who's going to do that and who's going to start it. And when it does happen, I don't think they're prepared for the response. I really don't. It's going to be very different from 2020. And I don't think it's just going to be in the cities. It's going to be in the suburbs and in your rural areas. Yes, it will happen. We better be ready for that. Okay. If Harris wins, I think there could be a little delay. I still think we're going to see unrest. I believe we will. Maybe not immediate, but it will happen. When the realization sinks in that this is happening, you're losing and lost your country. Something's going to happen. So you may have a little more time then, but you may not. You may not. I think we will see unrest and violence, yes. Have a place you're going to be. That's home, wherever. Home, bug out, whatever that is for you. We need to be prepared to shelter in, hunker down, whatever you want to call it. Self-defense. We really need to concentrate a lot on that. I know we talk about water, food, spiritual, of course, number one, but self-defense, okay? Who's around you? Who lives around you? Are they kind of on the same page? Do you have any idea? It might be a good idea. If you haven't yet, find out. They're thinking a little bit. You can kind of figure that out. And maybe, even talk about, we were talking about that this weekend, maybe I'm thinking of approaching some neighbors. We have an informal neighborhood watch, but it's not like a set formal schedule or anything like that. But you can approach it from that point of view, like, hey, I know, with crime and all, let's be watchful. Can we coordinate something? You don't have to go talking about preps and all that stuff. All right. There's ways to do it. Be wise. Be wise and be cautious. Self-defense tools. Okay, this is going to be super important, y'all. The things that feed the tools. You know what I mean? We need to stock up. Practice. I got to work on that too. All right, I'm working on it. Do you have help? Mutual assistance group, MAGs. I know many of us. We're if we do, it's small. It's a small circle. You gotta trust that. You have to trust who's in your group, who's in your circle. That is paramount important. Things could pop off before November. September is another time. It could be October. We don't know what's around the corner. We can all feel that something is coming. It's just a matter of when. We really need to prepare. You're like, Dawg, I've been preparing for years and years and years. Get it? I get it. Practice. Is there a skill you need to brush up on? Keep some cash out. Keep your fuel tanks full. Look over again your preps for a power outage. Okay. I just have a strong feeling that we may not have till November, but if we do, man, I don't think there's going to be much of a delay, if at all. When the stuff starts, it's already started. Really, if you really think about it, we're already in a crisis. I believe, country's in a serious crisis. The speed of the fan is just going to go to the max full setting. It could do it. It could be any time. So, not to scare anybody. And that gets me to my verse. I'm not trying to be fear-mongering here. I'm just sharing my thoughts and spreading the word of preparedness. All right? And Jesus. So, if you're still with me, I appreciate it. Matthew chapter 6, he's talking to his disciples here. This might sound familiar. Chapter 6, verse 33 of Matthew says, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you. Therefore do not be anxious for tomorrow will care for itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." Each day is going to have enough trouble of its own. Don't be fretting. Don't be stressing yourself out for the day after tomorrow. You can prepare, but don't let it make you lose sleep. Okay, that makes sense. The first part of it, though, the verse 33, "But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added to you." So we need to keep seeking and pray. His righteousness. We seek to be like him, the King. We are human, and he knows that. But let's stay close to Jesus as best we can, as often as we can. And let's be safe. Let's be the light. There's so much darkness, y'all. It's so dark. There is good out there. There's other good people out there. I believe there's angels out here. I really do. Sometimes we may have run across one we don't even realize. Sometimes we do. But let's be the light. But take no squeeze. Take no dog squeeze. Be prepared. All right? Nothing wrong with that. Again, stay close to Jesus. God bless you. I'll see you soon.